You know, I always found it entertaining to watch shows about conspiracy theories, things like that. I kind of almost looked at it as sort of a mental exercise, you know, just expand your brain, kind of flex your brain a little bit. And it's good for creativity too. I mean, that's a lot where I get story ideas from. Of course, I've never published anything, but I used to write a lot of stories, and I would take bits of reality in and be like, well, what if this happened? What if this, you know? And you got your built-in characters too, because you can base them on people that you know. But it's weird to me how the whole conspiracy thing has changed these days. The dynamic is completely different. It used to be, at least from my perspective, and I always thought I was a little bit open-minded. Not so much that I would disbelieve the shape of the planet or that we're being run by reptiles, literal reptiles. And I never was a big believer in aliens. But, you know, it's funny that the craziest people, the people I thought were the craziest, you know, short of that stuff, they're getting to be more and more accurate. And it's kind of funny that the tinfoil hat has switched sides. Because, you know, and there's an EC story. Might have been a shock suspense stories. If you don't know what an EC is, I need to do some videos on that. That's good reading. Just where Tales from the Crypt came from. Mad Magazine and all that. But anyway, there's some story about how a man had, his wife was supposed to be some sort of mental illness. He had the doctor come in and check her. And she was saying all these things that she was seeing. So flashing lights and noises and things like this. And he wasn't seeing or hearing any of that. And after, you know, a long examination, he got his orderlies to come in and take the husband away. Because all that actually was happening. And he was so out of touch with reality that he didn't realize it. And it's kind of sort of like that. Because reality does foster this thought a little bit, but it's come up with this belligerent skepticism about everything. And that's just as crazy as believing the craziest things. I mean, think about it. You can, like right now, the way a lot of the Trump voters are, and the Biden voters, and people like that, the people who are not just voting out of fear, they actually think that the people they're voting for are decent people and are running the country well, and have done. The facts don't back that up at all. And it doesn't matter where you get those facts from, they won't believe you. They won't. You can have something... somebody they're following actually be recorded saying something or doing something. And then they'll just say it's out of context, or maybe that's fake. That might be AI. And I guess it could be, but at some point, you know, your common sense is still there. You know it isn't. You know it isn't. You know it's real. You got to wake up. And we got a lot of people now about the Trump thing, and even if they wake up about that, let's be realistic. We got people chomping at the bit to get the Democratic Party back in power. I mean, they just had this vote to cover up sexual assault files. I don't get the terminology right on that. But they passed this vote on it. I got an opinion about that too, because the sad thing is, even the people who voted to sort of release these files shouldn't be trusted. Let's see. House kills effort to release congressional sexual misconduct and harassment reports. You can't justify voting to continue covering that up. Now, I had at least two from Tennessee vote to release Burchett and Ogles. Don't buy that. Burchett has been trying to straddle, he's been straddling the fence so hard, he probably can't even sit down. That man, he's been screaming about the Epstein files, while pretending like Trump isn't involved in it. And Ogles, I don't even bother even talking to Ogles. Ogles is beyond evil. As much hell as I give Burchett, it's because he seems at least remotely human. I don't think he's a good person, but it's the difference between trying to talk to a criminal who should be locked away and a serial killer. You're not going to bother trying to talk sense into the serial killer. But they voted because they knew it would fail, for sure. Now, I don't think Thomas Massie did. I believe him at this point. But his actions back it up. Burchett's actions don't back that up. Now, what this should tell you is, and I don't have to wear a tinfoil hat here, they're all in it together. I don't know how much more evidence you need. They're in this together. AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib all voted to cover this stuff up. So everything they're doing is ringing hollow. It's performative. I don't know if Ro Khanna was in that or not. I don't know about various other ones. I don't know what their stances are in that. But, Thomas Massie's history backs that up. I can defend him in that. That's probably about the only one that I've seen. I need to look over it again a little closer, but I saw some interesting names and I just kind of pulled away from it. But it's pretty obvious if you look who they're in bed with and voting to keep that covered up. It's people they're supposed to be rabidly against. If you see some people just in line voting with Nazis and KKK and everything else, you don't even really need that much context. I mean, seriously. So there's your reality for you. Ain't about a tinfoil hat. If you don't want to see it, that's your problem. So it just shows you too, and I've encouraged people, don't vote for anyone who's funded by AIPAC, but there's plenty of them right there who aren't funded by AIPAC, outwardly anyway, and they're still in league with them. You gotta do more than that. It's gotta be indirect also. So in other words, you can't just be against an AIPACrat, as I call them, AIPACrat, whatever you want to call them. You can't just be against that. You got to be against the people who support those people. Because the squad was big on that. Oh, we're different, but we're going to take our support and hand it over to the people who aren't different. In a manner of speaking, you can say Trump is the same thing. If you want to paint a pretty picture in that. You want somebody who stands on their morals. And these people don't. So every single one of the people who voted against that release, this needs to be their last term. They should not be a shift leader at a Hardee's. That's what you need to do. And anybody that's funded by AIPAC, anybody who endorses anyone who's funded by AIPAC. And as a matter of fact, I would take this a little bit farther because it's not going far enough. So it's not just a matter of Epstein and AIPAC. Whoever is involved in that, whoever is supporting people and funding people who were involved in that, you just go take another step until you're boycotting like crazy and voting out, standing against. Because there's no defense for that. There's no defense for this war. Even the liberals love it because they have in their mind they're a little soft on the whole Palestinian thing too, because they have in their mind that these are hardcore conservatives over here that are getting bombed. And that should interest you too. You know, the conservatives here, they want to use that as justification. Like, look, even your people are for it. Yeah, because if you paid closer attention, they'd like that to happen to you as well, idiot. You should have figured that out with what they've been talking about, the whole January 6th thing, and ever since. If you're not exactly what they are, they want you terminated. Just like you want them terminated. So if you're not going to think for yourself, we're screwed. We're absolutely screwed. And there's no paranoia about it. You know, I, again, got in that argument with a friend of mine that I've known for over 30 years. And he's just repeating talking points. And who dismissed those talking points? Trump and Trump's administration themselves. I guess that's fake, or, you know, AI or this or that. It just shows you, because what they found could be that also, but they believe that, see. They're only skeptical when it's something that disagrees with the narrative they've got engraved into their skull. So again, the tinfoil hats have changed heads. I believe in being open-minded. I believe in being skeptical here and there. You know what I try to do? Let's say I found out something about Donald Trump. I already hated him since I was a kid. The responsible thing for me to do, such and such has happened, he's been revealed about him, he's supposed to have said this or done this or that. The responsible thing for me to do is to try to debunk it. Don't believe it. Because I know I have a desire to believe the worst in him. And even if that were not the case, if you're leaning towards believing something, you need to try to debunk it for yourself. Play devil's advocate. Whichever direction you're leaning, try to talk yourself into the other direction. As hard as you can. That's how you can be sure of your opinions, your views. Push as hard as you can the other direction. So again, tinfoil hats have switched heads. Open-mindedness is, I guess it's gone.